I have a sea glass problem. All of that sea glass is from one beach, 2 trips, and um, I don't even know how much it is, how heavy it is, but it's a lot. And it is just a fraction of the sea glass that I've collected. But it is some of the most beautiful stuff I've seen. This, and in this case, a lot of these are not particularly worn down because it's kind of the Thames estuary, sort of where the Thames meets the sea. So there's just not the same types of conditions that you would see just on a seaside type of beach. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what I found. So here's the first close-up set of sea ceramic, I guess you'd say. And these ones were all from one single beach. And obviously it's a blue set. We'll just call it the blue set. I think I'll probably have a set called the not blue set, perhaps, to make up the rest, because by far the blue set encompasses like the largest proportion. So there's just an enormous amount of the blue. As you can probably see, some of these look like they might fit together like puzzle pieces, which I've not really tried to do. I've mostly just collected it and washed it and laid it out here for you to see. But I imagine some of them were from one piece that broke, like one plate or something that have broken, and they stayed close together, so I was able to collect them. Someone told me that the beach was actually a place where glass and ceramic collected from a tip that was washing out to sea. Don't know if that's true, but it would appear so because these don't look like, they came off a ship or something, because they would have been much more battered. Some of them are looking pretty fresh, even though they're quite old pieces. There's some more modern pieces I found as well, but I've kept those separate. This is the largest piece, and I absolutely love it. I almost left it because it was so heavy. I thought, like, trying to carry that is something else. You can see the crazing on the back, and this is chipped but so gorgeous. I have absolutely no idea what what company made this or what the rest of it looks like. When I first started collecting sea glass and sea ceramic, I tried to research it, and I found it was quite overwhelming just because there's so much variety that was made over such a long period of time that quite often I could not find the piece because Google wasn't particularly helpful if you were putting in something like blue pottery with leaves or curlicues. So I know you can buy books, and perhaps that would be the way to go, but I just think I'm not interested enough in the actual history of the pieces. It's more thinking about who had these pieces or what kind of life they had or how expensive they were or what they meant to those people. I like to sort of imagine that. And knowing the history of the pottery itself doesn't necessarily help me that much with that. I might take that up again at some point in future, but for the time being, I'm happy just to look at them and think about them and so on. See, this one still has a little bit of a decal on it that you can see, and one of them says ironstone on the back. But otherwise, I'm not too sure about any of these. Some of my favorite are something like, actually that one looks a bit modern. I think it's sneaked in. Some of my favorite ones have a little bit of texture on it, or maybe something like this where you wonder what that is. That might have been a big handle to attach to a bit of pottery. Might have been just where that handle attaches. Or sometimes you'll get teeny tiny pieces and you just feel so like proud that you managed to find that in the sand. Just this little itty bitty piece. Something like that anyway. Some of them are smoother than others. That looks quite pretty, doesn't it? It's so little and yet so pretty. Or this one here. Look at that with the circular pattern on it. And you think like somebody designed these to look a certain way, Like it was important to them, and their work is immortalized, even though we'll never know like who was working at Wedgwood or whatever, to create these. Some artisans, I guess, people working in house, but we'll never know anything about who did that. And that kind of interests me a little to think about that. That maybe they had some satisfaction, but they're not at all recognized, as history goes on. It was just their job, I guess. I'd like to know why there's so much blue. Like, was blue a really popular pottery color or something? Like, did everybody like blue glazes, or was it cheap, or, what the situation was with that? I don't really know. But yeah, anyway, this was just a bit of a close-up of some of the blue set, and I'll have other sets to follow in other colors and types.